So, Matt Hardy is in All Elite Wrestling, or as I like to call it, All Delete Wrestling now. Am I right, lads? But that wasn't the only big news that came out of the Hardy compound this week. Matt Hardy also appeared on Chris Jericho's excellent Talk is Jericho podcast, a podcast that is so good, it's almost as good as What Culture Wrestling's. But genuinely, the interview with Chris Jericho and Matt Hardy was one of the best Chris has ever done. It was akin to the one we did with Jon Moxley immediately after he left WWE. Granted, it probably wasn't as explosive, but Matt Hardy went into everything you would expect. His WWE exit, his AEW arrival, and what you can expect from him and his broken character going forward. With that in mind, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, and these are 10 things we learned from Matt Hardy's appearance on Talk is Jericho. Number 10, his immediate thoughts on AEW's structure. Matt said as soon as he walked through the doors of AEW's locker room, he knew he'd made the right choice. And this isn't just about reunions with old friends, this is about allowing his creativity to flourish. He said he was genuinely surprised that when he started pitching stuff in AEW, people were like, great, let's go do it. Or at the very least, worth a try, I suppose, rather than the restrictive WWE structure he'd been used to, where he'd have to pitch idea upon idea upon idea and go through so many levels of people before he could finally get to Vince McMahon, who probably would say, don't understand, pal. Matt described it as very easy and refreshing in AEW, and no doubt, just like the likes of Chris Jericho, Goldust, and Jon Moxley, he suddenly felt that he found a place where he could truly express himself. Number 9. He might have stayed had Triple H been in sole power. Here's a scoop for you. Days after Matt Hardy's contract expired, Triple H gave him a call to see if they could work things out. And Matt actually admitted that had Triple H been the sole one in power, he probably would have stayed with the promotion. He doesn't have an issue with Triple H or his vision for the future at the very least. His concern, Matt Hardy's that is, was the fact that he thought WWE was simply going to minimize his role within the promotion and just kind of prevent him from going elsewhere. He's seen WWE hoarding talent so they can't go to AEW, and he didn't want to be part of that. He still has stuff he wants to achieve clearly in his career, and despite the fact he's such a legend, he could not pin down Vince McMahon backstage to commit on what they had going forward for him, which is why when Paul Heyman asked Matt Hardy around the whole Randy Orton, caving his head in storyline, whether or not he was genuinely leaving the promotion, he couldn't give him a straight answer. If Triple H had been the only one in charge, chances are Matt would still be there. Number 8. WWE wanted him to be a road veteran in 2010. Yes, a full decade ago, WWE pigeonholed Matt freaking Hardy as a road veteran. They apparently wanted him to work with raw, big guys who are quite green coming up, who Vince saw potential in, and get them ready for the big time. And whilst Matt didn't really have that much of an issue with that, he clearly still had stuff he wanted to achieve in his career. He was hurting, he had personal problems, but WWE just kind of ignored all that. 10 years ago, they were ready to just make him a cog in the machine and kind of just put him out to pasture, which makes you think, really, thank God for Impact Wrestling for allowing him to discover this broken character, and now thank God to AEW for allowing him to keep going. Number 7, Matt's early realization. One thing I really like about Chris Jericho's interview with Matt Hardy is just how honest Matt Hardy is. Talking about his early days as part of the Hardy Boys, he admits something that you probably wouldn't expect. He said that he saw before anyone else that he couldn't really do the high-flying stuff that his brother Jeff could. So he put himself in this quarterback role where he came up with all the creative ideas that the two could do as a tag team, and Jeff's response was basically, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Matt admitted that he didn't really feel like he started thriving until he branched out into his V1 gimmick, which is really interesting stuff and showcases the fact that Matt Hardy has always been an ideas man, and he's the first person to realize it. Number 6, True Blood inspired the broken universe. You know that red streak that Matt Hardy had flowing through his hair when he debuted on AEW Dynamite this week? Well, yes, that was not coincidental. It's all part of a new Damascus character, which is an extension of his broken persona, and that character apparently hails from 999 BC, because of course he does. It's well good listening to this part on the podcast, by the way, because Chris Jericho is just pissing himself whilst Matt Hardy explains all this, but he does go into detail to say that basically HBO's True Blood is the inspiration for everything we've seen from Matt Hardy Hardy and his broken universe. He said he loved the idea of souls who live in different vessels across multiple time periods. It's also worth qualifying that this is a different character from what we saw playing in Impact Wrestling and different from the tweak on his Woken persona in WWE. Kennigan is apparently a fictional being who killed off that side of him. Glad we've all got all that sorted out, eh? Number 5, Jeff's reaction to the Brother Nero gimmick. Have you ever noticed that sort of quirky contrast as to how Matt is all in on his broken character, whereas Jeff seems a little bit more detached from Brother Nero? Well, that is because initially Jeff wasn't completely sold on this gimmick, but Matt convinced him by basically being brutally honest. He said he wanted him to no longer be a spot monkey, ouch, and look after his personal well-being. Jeff realised that he was only looking out for him, started to have a lot of fun, and eventually admitted that Matt had kind of won him over, and he was loving every single second of it. Shout out to Impact Wrestling as well, who really allowed these two to just completely express themselves and, well, go wild with their ideas. But Brother Nero and Jeff Hardy wasn't the only person that Matt Hardy had some ideas for. Number 4, his original plans for Bray Wyatt. Just like he did for Jeff Hardy, Matt wanted to offer the same sort of guidance for Bray Wyatt. He had loads of ideas for the two of them working together and wanted to showcase the fact that Bray had been freed from Sister Abigail and become lovable as a result. But of course, WWE being WWE ruined all of that. They didn't want any of his creative vignettes to be aired. They wanted him to just be in weekly matches because they have 3 hours of television to fill on a Monday night. They didn't want any of those nice little nods to the smart fans in the audience, winking at the camera and the like. Vince McMahon got them to edit out all of that sort of thing. And the final nail in the coffin, which really shouldn't come as much of a surprise, centers around the ultimate deletion. You know, the one where Michael Cole buried it before they even showed it. Vince McMahon reportedly said, "If this does a number, I'm out of touch." And then, surprise, surprise, told Matt Hardy he didn't get it. Number 3, he was impressed by the Dark Order's booking. Another thing that probably won't shock you from this interview, considering Matt and all of his beardy weirdiness, is his love of the Dark Order. Matt is a huge fan, as you can probably tell, of multi-layered storytelling, and so adored the way that AEW presented the Dark Order and the eventual reveal of Brody Lee as the Exalted One. And for those of you online speculating as to whether or not Matt Hardy was going to be the Exalted One, that popped him huge too, because he knew that would make Brody's reveal even better and his debut just so. Number 2, AEW weren't allowed to fly Vanguard 1 over fans. The current situation with empty arena shows for professional wrestling is pretty crap, if I'm honest, but every cloud has a silver lining, and Jericho revealed something fascinating whilst chatting with Matt Hardy. Had there been fans in Rochester, there would have been no Vanguard 1 appearance. That is because AEW officials admitted that if there were fans in the arena, no drones would have been allowed to be flying due to safety laws, which makes you really reconsider how on earth they would have debuted him, because that's a whole package, isn't it? Vanguard 1 flying in, Matt Jackson cutting the promo, the terrified faces of the Inner Circle, and the subsequent reveal of Matt Hardy in AEW. Imagine that without Vanguard 1. It just would not have been the same, would it? So I suppose we can thank the current situation for something good in wrestling? I don't think I can even go that far, can I? Number 1, Matt called an audible. Yes, Matt Hardy went rogue on Wednesday night, although it's kind of a good job that he did. You see, original plans called for Vanguard 1, as it did, to fly in, land in the ring. Matt Jackson reveals that they have got an extra partner for the Elite, for Blood and Guts, and then Vanguard 1 was meant to take off and fly to Matt Hardy as part of the reveal. That didn't happen. They kind of don't really know why, but that is why you saw Matt Hardy just sort of improv and do the whole chewing of the scenery thing that he does. Him and Jericho discuss this and talk about how AEW's loose formatting is a lot better than WWE's tightly scripted programming. It's almost as if the ability to improv and adapt to scenarios makes AEW's output better. Just a thought, Vince. Just a thought. And that's our list. Did we miss any out? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Plus, you can check out some more recent videos here. Thanks for watching. I've been Adam from What Culture, and I'll see you soon. Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, and if you're a fan of what you've just seen, then make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts for daily wrestling podcasts, where we not only review Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live, we also discuss the events before and after of pay-per-views. We have roundtable discussions discussing burning wrestling issues, interviews, and a roundup of the week, complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on wrestle culture. Thanks for watching. I've been Adam from What Culture, and I'll see you soon.